Today, on You're Watching a Movie with Silas Lindenstein, I am reviewing the new horror film, Pearl.
You're watching a movie with Silas Reviews. In the theaters you find this. So go and press play and rewind this. This feature is timeless. Love it like it or we lose it, can't find it. And we ain't keen on being reminded about the film if it isn't tough. We spend a lot of time at the cinema. It's just me and my friends, we watch plenty stuff. For movies, yeah, I've been above. Whether big or they small, no, for me don't make a difference. Love them. You're watching a movie with Silas Reviews. In the theaters you find this. So go and press play and rewind this. This feature is timeless. Love it like it or we lose it, can't find it. And we ain't keen on being reminded about the film if it didn't hit. No, gotta lose it. Watch movies with my friends, bringing joy, that's the blueprint. So come on and let's do this. Leave pain behind us and relax your mind. Come watch a movie with Silas. Yeah. Come watch a movie with Silas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to You're Watching a Movie with Silas Lindenstein. I am your host, Silas Lindenstein. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is episode number 4. This is a review episode, so it'll be spoiler-free, as spoiler as we can get. And while reviewing a film, which, you know, I think we can be pretty spoiler-free on this one. Going to talk about some themes and such. For the movie Pearl. Pearl is the prequel to the movie X, which came out just this year. It's very fascinating how this happened. I believe it happened during the pandemic. The film X, which was a film, a horror film about an adult film being shot on this farm. They were kind of trying to do it on the down low, renting the barn for whatever, for film work, not knowing what it was, saying what it was. And then the cast and crew are then terrorized by Pearl, the elderly woman who they think, you know, may have dementia or something going on. And she starts killing them. And her name was Pearl. It was epic. That film starred Mia Goth as both the lead of X and also as Pearl. She played the older woman. It was interesting. So now we have Pearl come out, which is Mia Goth helped write this. Her and the director, Ty West. So Mia plays Pearl as a young woman, and yeah, it's the prequel. And apparently there's already a third installment ready. And yeah, so Pearl is not, while it does, it's not really related other than the character. It's not really related mostly to X, except they do kind of involve adult movies. And in this, as part of a scene, they involve, kind of, it's like the glamour of Hollywood films. Pearl has this aching to escape the farm and become like an actress on the silver screen. And they shoot it in the stylized Hollywood way. And it's very cool in that way. So yeah, so it's different, but you know, again, it is a horror slasher. The big question I have on it, and for, I don't know, maybe some of you fans out there can tell me if you think this film would have worked without seeing the movie X. Does it stand on its own? I think it does, but maybe not completely. I think there is an added element of suspense and scare knowing who Pearl becomes when watching this. And without that, I'm really, really curious how somebody who just watches it discovers it. So maybe you just watch Pearl. Tell me. You don't have to have seen X to get Pearl, but I think it definitely adds to the experience. Or maybe it takes it away. I don't know. This movie I got to see with my good friend Casey Rom. She is going to be back on this. I think we're going to record a discussion episode, and that should be next, where we get to talk more in depth about it. So let's we'll get to that when we'll let you know when that drops. If you want to see read the written review on this, that is up on the site already. It'll be a separate post. And this, of course, will be episode, I believe, number 4. And that'll be the review. So, and then got a little meme review. So I got 3 ways you can listen, you can read, you can meme, and soon you'll be able to video. I was going to video this one, but I had a computer failure and I'm trying to figure out that part of my life. So anyway, let's get down to the review. Pearl, 2022 film, rated R, a horror slasher, 1 hour, 42 minutes, written by Ty West and Mia Goth, directed by Ty West. Rounding out the cast as Mia Goth, David Cornsweet, Tandy Wright, Matthew Sunderland, and Emma Jenkins Purro. The story, in their own words, the story of how Pearl became the vicious killer seen in X. The best of the film. Number 1, art direction. There is some stunningly beautiful color, scenery, costumes, just a lovely visual feast, which is a fantastic choice considering we are expecting the opposite direction from a horror film. And from this film in particular, based on the world we were introduced in the original film. I said that weird. I should, comes out. Look, it is so colorful and vibrant that it almost looks like you're watching a musical as this starts, and we know it's not. So there's just juxtaposition as you're kind of careening with excitement of like, is she gonna kill? What's first? How does this happen? Number 2, the story. This is really quite an impressive tale of the creation of a monster. The director found a way to make sense of the crazy we see in the previous film to understand how a killer is formed early on. I'm openly not a huge horror person, which is probably shocking considering how many horror films I've ended up needing to review. What draws me to a horror is the premise, and what wins me over is the story. While some of the bloodshed or gore in a film may be gratuitous, the moments made sense within the story. And the story was so strong, it made me forget about how graphic it is. It's a cool story. It's weird because it's like, this is the prequel. And so now we know what's going to happen next. Right. But you really want to know what happened before. I don't know. It feels like a time loop watching it and reading about it. Number 3, the monologue. You'll know it when you see it. Pearl gives what I'm guessing is like a 10-minute monologue, which is incredibly rare in modern cinema. It is intense, character-defining, intriguing, everything you could ask for. There aren't enough monologues in modern films anymore. This monologue is going to be used a lot for auditions, I'll tell you that. Acting. Mia Goth, who plays the title character, does an absolutely wonderful job as Pearl. Her calmness, her desire, her struggle, all ring through a very complicated performance. Even overall in this film, the acting is pretty great. I don't usually think of horror films as a place to see fine acting, but this film is full of it. The worst things about the film. Number 1, and really, I can only come up with one. That's the worst. I have a concern that the film won't hit as hard if you haven't seen the original. It's really hard to know, but the suspense of the first half of the film really does rely on us knowing who or what Pearl becomes later. The review. Pearl is the prequel film to the horror film that came out earlier this year called X. X was a horror film about a low-budget adult film being produced on a rural farm until the filmmakers meet the elderly owner of the farm, Pearl, who, for a variety of reasons, decides to kill them. Pearl is meant to be the origin story to see how Pearl turns into the killer we see in X. The film makes the choice of connecting the adult film production to Pearl by making her a huge fan of movies when she was a young lady. She befriends a local film projectionist who shows her some stag films from France, the early beginning of the adult film industry. The early part of the film is definitely shot as an homage to old films, stylizing it in a way of early color films. Throughout the film, we are treated to all these little theatrical nuggets, almost getting in the head of the starry-eyed future killer. The film is not just a horror film. It is almost a love letter to the early years of film. The film is also set in 1918 during the Spanish flu pandemic, helping to really connect to the modern audience, showing their fears of catching the silent killer, protecting themselves with masks and social distancing. But for the most of the cast, the Spanish flu is not the killer they need to worry about. While masks can protect you from a virus, what is more deadly is the mask that a killer can wear. Masks they use to hide who they really are inside. Pearl's mask of the sweet girl and dreamer hide a really deep anger she carries. It hides the coldness inside her. It hides a brutality that nobody has seen before. And once she takes off the mask, she is more deadly than anyone can possibly imagine. Pearl is terrifying early on in the wholesome image it portrays. It is a reminder that you need to look deep inside of someone until you discover who they really are. You need to look under their mask. The lesson: support your support your child's dreams. Also, everyone is wearing masks, so be careful. The final word: a remarkable, well-done prequel to this year's horror film X. Great writing with fully fleshed out characters, fantastic performance from lead Maya Goth, a scary tale about a woman's descent into madness. At the same time, it is almost a love letter to early Hollywood films. The verdict. Now, I have a 3L system. You may know it. It's love it, like it, or lose it. Love it. That is that film that you get out of the theater and you got to text people. They need to see this film, right? You post online, whatever, go see it. Like it. It's a film you'd recommend. It's a film that you can't help but put the remote down when it comes on the TV. Pretend you're watching TV that's live. Okay, people. Thank you. But it's a film you like. It can even be a bad movie, but you still enjoy seeing it, right? It's a huge swath of the films. And lose it means I watched it so you don't have to. Okay? We don't get a lot of those, but for me, Pearl gets a strong like it. That's right. I think it's gonna be a rare horror that gives me a love it, but and Pearl's probably close. But you know what? What tells me it's my instinct. I did not leave the theater saying, you gotta watch it, man. I didn't feel that way. And I don't know if it's because it's also the sequel, and I don't know that a lot of people saw X, but it just didn't give that extra push for me. But the more I wrote about it, the more I liked it. So I definitely got a strong like it. And for me, that's big, especially being a horror. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Just a review on Pearl. There's other things I've seen. I'm trying to get them written up for you and get them out on the site. We've got a lot of films coming out and other previews of other things coming, even some TV shows that I really want to talk about. Still trying to sort out how we're going to present them here that are best for you. But next week, I'm pretty sure we are going to have a discussion again about Pearl. So please try to watch it if you can, or bookmark it. We'll discuss Pearl. And then I'm going to be trying to have an episode on the new Quantum Leap. There's a new Quantum Leap that comes out next week, September 19th, I believe, a Monday night. It's going to be 10 p.m. on NBC. And then the following day it'll release on Peacock. I believe just the regular one and not the paid for, but I'm not positive. So don't hold me to that. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for watching a movie with Silas Lindenstein.
You're watching a movie with Silas Lindenstein. In the theaters you find this, so go and press play and rewind this. This feature is timeless. Love it, like it, or we lose it, can't find it. And we ain't keen on being reminded about the film if it isn't tough. We spend a lot of time at the cinema. It's just me and my friends, we watch plenty stuff. For movies, yeah, I've been above. Whether big or they small, no, for me don't make a difference. Love them. You're watching a movie with Silas Lindenstein. In the theaters you find this, so go and press play and rewind this. This feature is timeless. Love gotta lose it. Watch movies with my friends, bringing joy, that's the blueprint. So come on and let's do this. Leave pain behind us and relax your mind. Come watch a movie with Silas.